not whistles. Wait, what? My mind is blown. Bree here, and today we're going to take a look at things that we had no idea we were using wrong. Saucepan handles. So that little hole at the end of the saucepan is for you to put your spoon for it to rest in. I don't know what I thought this was for. I just thought it was something that pans had, I guess. You know, it's like you see it every day and you just get used to it. But I have tried this and it does work, though it does kind of notch your spoon a little bit. Okay, this one I thought everyone knew. There's little lines on the cap of your detergent so you know how much to measure out. Is that not common knowledge? I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you knew that or not. Yes, bananas. We are peeling them wrong. It is so much easier to peel from the bottom. Like, I know it looks like you're supposed to peel it the other way, but I heard somewhere that it was easier to peel from the bottom, and I started doing that, and it is so much easier. Whenever I'm like peeling from the stem, I guess, it always gets so squishy up at the top, and I don't have that problem when I go from the bottom. So juice boxes have little flaps that fold out so kids can hold on to them to make it easier to hold. I had no idea. Okay, so toilet seat covers, you're supposed to leave the handle out front, and that makes it easier to flush, apparently. I don't know. I don't use toilet seat covers, so I'm kind of at a loss on this one. So there are different kinds of plungers for different situations. A flat plunger is actually for a sink. For a toilet, it's supposed to have like the tapered end, like this middle one. The plungers that I have are all flats. I feel like that's what most people have, but that's apparently for the sink. What? Okay, so this indent on the side of the milk jug starts to expand out when the milk is spoiled. So it lets you know if your milk is spoiled or not. That is useful. That is really useful information. Okay, this is not something we're using wrong. This is a life hack. You like take the little bread tags and you use them to label chords, which is really great as long as it's like behind stuff, because I wouldn't want that to be something that everyone who goes to my house would see, because I feel like that looks a little tacky. But if it's like behind the desk, that can be really useful. Okay, so dress shirts have this little loop on the back, and that's not just a random style thing. That is for like if you need to change somewhere and you don't have a hanger, you can hook it, which makes sense. It just seems like an odd placement for me. I would think of, like, I think of hooks where you would find them on like a bathrobe, like inside the collar. That would make sense placement-wise for me, instead of right on the back of the shirts. Ew, oranges. I hate oranges so much. The scent makes me nauseous. Hello, Sith. But apparently, the proper way to cut an orange. Sorry. Wave of nausea just thinking about it. Whenever anyone, if I'm in the room with someone and they cut an orange, I have to leave because it makes me so nauseous. But what you're supposed to do is, in a room where I am not in, please, cut the orange on both ends, top and bottom, and then you can just pull it open and it will just, boom, unwrap, which is really cool for such a disgusting fruit. Wait, what? These little loops on the shopping cart are to hang the bags on? My mind is blown right now. Dental floss. We're using dental floss wrong? Okay, so if you tie it in a knot, it increases the tension of the floss, makes it easier to maneuver. Oh, okay, that makes sense. I mean, I know, like, as a kid, I had those, like, floss stick things, so it's kind of the same principle as that. Yes, I had heard this one. The drawer under your oven is not just for storing pots and pans, as I was led to believe. It is actually, I think it's called the broiler, and it keeps food warm under there. Yeah, that actually has a cooking purpose. Who knew? Yes, Tic Tacs, you can dispense one at a time. I wonder if that actually works as well as you think it would, because I feel like, I don't know, I think they would all come dumping out one way or the other. Has anyone actually tried to dispense a Tic Tac using this method, let me know. Again, this is not intended purpose. This is more of a life hack. If you don't have a spoon or don't want to dirty a spoon, after you peel the plastic lid off your applesauce, you can fold it into a makeshift spoon. And I really like it for this dip one. So many times, like at family functions, we put out dip and then we don't have a spoon to serve it out with. So that would make a perfect, if a little tacky, serving spoon. The lid you get on like fast food cups can double as a coaster. You know, if you're not worried about knocking it over and spilling it all over the place. Okay, have you ever gotten like a nice shirt or something and it comes with this little swatch of fabric and you're like, what on earth is this for? Is it for like patching my clothes if I tear it? Apparently not. It does have a purpose. It's so you can test the fabric in your washing machine before washing the shirt, so you can like make sure your machine isn't going to damage it. Okay, so apparently when like using a blender, you should put the liquids in first, because then the blades will like pull the solids down and it distributes it more evenly. I don't know, I have a Ninja blender, so it has blades all the way up. I'm assuming it would still apply, but I don't know for sure, because I always put the solids in first. Now I'm wondering if I should try putting the liquids in first. So, okay, who else as a kid, when you had a lollipop and then you had that little hole in the stick, thought it was supposed to be a whistle and was really confused when it didn't work like a whistle, and every time you had a lollipop, you tried to use it as a whistle, and without fail, it was a really crappy whistle, and you're like, when are they going to make these whistles better? They're not, because they're not whistles. It helps the candy to adhere to the stick so it doesn't pop out and like become a choking hazard. But as a kid, I wanted a whistle. This is another thing that my mom taught me as I was learning to drive, but apparently not everyone knows it. There's this little tab on your rearview mirror, so if you're driving at night and like the headlights are too bright, you can flip it. And there's a reflective mirror in the rearview mirror, so then like what you see is reflected off, is like going through the glass, reflecting off that mirror, so it's not as bright and it's not blinding you every time you look up in the rearview mirror. Condiment cups. Did you know if you unroll the edge, you can fit so much more in there? I mean, it makes sense when you think about it, you just never think about doing it. Okay, poll in the comments right now. How do you eat your cupcake? Do you eat it like normal way and get icing everywhere? Or do you cut in half, make a cupcake sandwich, and get crumbs all over the place? Either way, you're getting stuff all over the place. Like, my best friend and my husband are like, this is the only way to eat a cupcake. I'm like, honestly, I switch off because either way, I still end up making a mess. I either get my face covered in icing, or when I try to split the cupcake, just crumbs go everywhere and I feel like I lose so much cupcake. I'm like, is it really worth it? I don't know. I see why it's good. I like it in theory. I just have not had much success making it work for me. So let me know in the comments how you eat your cupcakes. Okay, like pasta is one of the most difficult things to measure serving size, but there is actually a really easy way to do it. This spoon that you generally use to make pasta with has a hole in the center that measures out a serving of pasta. We use this method all the time. It is great. So if you're driving and for whatever reason you cannot remember which side your gas is on, or if you're like driving someone else's car, there is a little arrow by the fuel gauge that indicates which side it's on. So you never have to wonder. Highway signs. If the sign's on the right, your exit will be on the right. If the sign's on the left, the exit will be on the left. I thought that was, again, kind of more common knowledge. Yes, I learned this from my husband, like, pretty soon after we started dating. He was cooking for me one time, and he's boiling pasta and just lays the wooden spoon across the top of the pot. I'm like, do you not have a spoon rest? Like, why are you... Is there a reason you just laid it right across the top of the pot? And he's like, yeah, it stops it from boiling over. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, it does. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. He's like, I don't know why, but it does. And I've done it since then, and it really does. I don't know what it is about it, but when you lay, it has to be a wooden spoon across the top of a pot, it will stop it from boiling over. Did you know any of these? Let me know in the comments down below. Also, let me know which one shocked you the most. Thank you so much for watching this video. Please leave a like, and if you want to keep watching, there should be another video popping up right here. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe to become a part of the Ineffable community, because you are ineffable.